everyone, welcome back to Callie and Beans Books. I'm Brittany, and today it is time for my March book corner. I read 5 physical books this month and then listened to a couple audiobooks, which I'll go over. Since I celebrated my birthday last week, I did kind of splurge on some books. I received some books for my birthday, so I'll go over my book haul as well. So to start my haul, I don't remember if I mentioned this in February, but I'll mention it again. I bought It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey off of the Facebook Marketplace. I've listened to this audiobook a couple of times, but needed to have the physical copy because the release of Hook, Line, and Sinker, I definitely wanted to have both physical copies, and I pre-ordered this one with the author signature, so I have this one signed. Very excited. It came with a sticker of Fox, and I love it. I also pre-ordered The War of Two Queens by Jennifer L. Armentrout, then found out I have to read the prequel, so I have to order that book now. I'm hopefully jumping into this series again in April. I might have to do a reread. I don't remember much, but I am looking forward to rereading this series and continuing. And then, of course, I'm super excited because Callie got me Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas for my birthday. And then for my birthday, John, my husband, got me Good Girl Complex by Elle Kennedy and Electric Idol by Katie Roberts. This is the follow-up to Neon Gods, which I have not read yet, but I wanted the sequel just in case. For the month of March, the books that I finished, I'm going to start with The Love Hypothesis by Allie Hazelwood. I was a little nervous going into this, but I give this a solid 4 out of 5. I absolutely adored this story. It was a lot of fun. I was nervous on the hype. I felt like maybe going into it, it's just not going to live up to the hype and the standards that I placed on it, but it delivered. I absolutely love the chemistry between the two main characters. It's kind of the enemies to lovers, fake dating. It was so well done. And the spice, even though it was less than expected, was very well done. I could not resist and could not wait to read Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is her newest release, and this follows Fox and Hannah. This is the follow-up to It Happened One Summer. So it is a standalone technically. However, to understand more of the dynamic and get a lot of the references, you should read It Happened One Summer first. I absolutely love them. This almost beats Piper and Brendan, but not quite. So it's very equal, but I absolutely adored this. This is a solid 5 out of 5 for me. I plan on rereading this. This is probably going to be my new comfort book because the buildup and their relationship dynamic is amazing, and I absolutely adore this. I definitely recommend both of these books. Highly, highly recommend. The next book I picked up was How to Love Your Neighbor by Sophie Sullivan. I gave this kind of a low 3 out of 5. I thought the relationship dynamic was really interesting between the two neighbors. There just seemed like something was missing throughout the entire story. And yes, it is a happily ever after, so we know from point A to point B that everything's going to be fine. It's just how we get there is a little predictable. Again, I know it's adult romance, everything is predictable in this genre, but it just felt too formula based. Like, oh, they're enemies. Oh, now they're friends. Oh, now they're lovers. Oh, here's the conflict. It didn't flow as well as I was hoping for. The relationship in general just was disappointing. The concept was really interesting. I went into it thinking it was like a Grumpy Sunshine, and it really wasn't. It was just a typical enemies to lovers in the neighbor situation. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. Next, I read Battle Royal by Lucy Parker. This takes place in London, and I didn't realize it, and I'm not a huge fan of books that take place in England. I just can't connect to them for some reason. And this was actually really interesting though, because it was kind of a spin off the Great British Baking Show. Kinda, sorta, it was sprinkled in there. Definitely enemies to lovers formula. I didn't feel the chemistry between the two main characters. Also, the same as How to Love Your Neighbor, was very low 3, maybe even a 2.75. Definitely not my favorite. Finally, I just finished up Promises and Pomegranates by Savar Miller. This is definitely a dark romance, a complete 180 to the other books I read this month. We've got all the fluffy color, fluffy story, fluffy romance, and then there's this. This is not sunshine and rainbows, friends. I did know that going into it. It was a solid story. I was pleasantly surprised that I did enjoy it so much, but overall I did really enjoy Promises and Pomegranates. I would give this 3.5 out of 5, mostly because honestly it's just a lot of dark smut throughout the entire story. Like, you're in the middle of a very intense conversation and then all of a sudden it's smut time, but I did enjoy it. I do want to dive into it a little bit more, kind of dip my toe in the dark side of the romance, but I also don't want to jump all in. I kind of want to break up the dark spice with the fluffy spice here and there. So I will let you guys know how that goes. Overall, those were the physical books I read. With my audiobooks, I finished up another re-listen to A Court of Silver Flames. Can't help myself, but that was also to lead into listening to Crescent City for the first time. So Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood, was a solid start to a new world, and there are definitely Easter eggs and breadcrumbs on the rest of the universe between Throne of Glass and Court of Thorns and Roses. It's definitely interesting, and you can pick up bits and pieces if you've read those other two stories in Crescent City and Crescent City 2, which I'm currently listening to. Those are my back-to-back audiobooks. Crescent City takes that to another level with the world building, with the character development, the reveals, the backstabbing. Everything is just amazing, and I cannot wait to figure out what happens, because I have I think about 4 hours left of Crescent City 2. I've luckily been able to avoid all of the spoilers in the last month and a half. I'm really excited to see what this reveal is that everyone is talking about. This is intense. This build up, these reveals back to back, it's everything I needed in this series from what I've been told about Crescent City. I'm just nervous, so we'll see. Going into my TBR, I have no idea what I will be in the mood to read in the next couple of weeks, especially with reading Crescent City and trying to piece everything together. I do want to reread Folk of Air series, which is Crow Prince, Wicked King, and Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. With my romance, I do want to read Neon Gods by Katie Roberts and a couple of the other miscellaneous romance that I still have laying around. For Kindle Unlimited, I do have a minor TBR. These are definitely books that I have found on TikTok. I might just do a whole separate video based on Kindle Unlimited, kind of playing around with that idea. But for the most part, I kind of want to jump back into fantasy, even if it's kind of fantasy romance. I think I kind of burnt myself out with adult romance, like the fluffy stories. So I kind of want to dip my toe into exploring the adult fantasy romance and maybe even more dark romances, but we'll see what happens. So with that, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We post new videos every Tuesday, Thursday, with some Sundays. Hit that little bell icon to be notified when we do post new videos. And if you like our content, please share it with your friends and family. Head over to Goodreads and Instagram to follow our individual and joint account. All links will be in the description below. Until next time, bye.